And now, our feature presentation.
Hello YouTube, it's Hero Tiny 5 here, and I'm back. I've been busy with a lot of things, over the past couple of weeks, but I'm back here and I'm going to be doing a review for Man and The Wasp. I just saw this a couple of hours ago at my local movie theater, Regal, with my friends, and it was an okay movie, and that was okay, because I wasn't really disappointed with this movie. To be honest with you, this was a very lighthearted Marvel film that just did everything that I wanted to do for a very minimalistic action film for the summer. That wasn't like a glorified summer movie like Avengers: Infinity War was. It was a break from that, and it's done a fantastic job of doing so, and it was great, and I actually liked it. The story is basically that Hank Pym and Hope Van Dyke are trying to find the mother, who was played by Michelle Pfeiffer, trying to find the mother in the quantum theory, because Hank Pym thinks that the mother is in the quantum theory after they dismantle a bomb that was going to hit somewhere in the late 1980s. Of course, that was a great plot, and then they kind of go back a little bit to Scott Lang's life as well too, after the events of Civil War and all that kind of stuff. And then Hank Pym and Hope Van Dyke are just very, very upset that Scott had joined Captain America in Germany to take down Iron Man in the game as well. What I like about this movie is that it was very lighthearted and didn't really have a lot going for it. It was just a very mellow movie with a very mellow villain. And this is a very mellow villain who basically is lost in all of this. She's not really a villain, but the villain Ghost is sort of a villain that just for all intents and purposes is a glorified villain. And for all intents and purposes, not a glorified Marvel villain. She doesn't have, and she has powers. She has a problem, and they have to fix it. All of that is controlled, and it's controlled as well. But it is a very mellow Marvel film. It did the job done, and it did really well in servicing what I like out of a very minimalistic Marvel film. It's kind of like Spider-Man: Homecoming. With Spider-Man: Homecoming, was just a very minimalistic Marvel movie. Sorry, I can't talk right now, you guys. Marvel movie that didn't really do that much in the plot. It was more just about advancing the character in the story. The same goes for this one. There's a lot of character development in this movie that has to do with Hope and Scott and their lives together as a team. Great chemistry between both Evangelist Lilly and Paul Rudd for their incredible chemistry together in the movie. They did perfectly well in being a team and being not a team and all that kind of stuff. It was just a very minimalist Marvel movie that just didn't really have like the big huge jolting scene like Avengers: Infinity War had, but it got the job done right, and it did it in a very consistent pace that was very minimalistic for an action film like this. It wasn't a glorified action film or a glorified Marvel movie. It was just a Marvel movie to hold our appetites for the next Avengers movie, and it did that in a very minimalistic way that was just right for all audiences, including me. It was very funny. There was a lot of funny jokes, but not as funny as Deadpool 2, but it's funny enough that we got a taste of what made the first Ant-Man movie so great, was that Michael Pena was back in this film. And man, was he a riot. And a lot of the stuff in the film was just so hilariously funny and enjoyable. And it was a great heist adventure movie with sci-fi in it, and it was great enough that I got to see these odd characters in this film that are just very odd and live in an odd life. You get a lot of backstory with some characters, and you get a good story about the quantum theory and all that kind of bullshit and all that kind of stuff. And they don't really mention a lot about, the other Marvel movies, but the one that they mention the most is Civil War. And I think they did a great job at correlating what Civil War had to do with Scott Lang and all that to said. For that said, I think Ant-Man and the Wasp is an okay Marvel film, and that's a good thing for an okay Marvel film. It's not horrible like Thor: The Dark World or Iron Man 2, but it gets the job done right of being a decent Marvel movie that doesn't really push the boundaries as much, doesn't really have a glorified villain to explode, because this villain, she is a very confused villain, and she turns good at the end. She saves herself from destruction and all that kind of stuff. Lawrence Fishburne was a good character, but I think his character could have been more developed in this film. But that was okay, because the film itself was decent and didn't need to develop a lot of newer characters for us to get in the cinematic universe. Because let's face it, we have so many characters in the MCU that it's just impossible for us to get introduced to new characters like Lawrence Fishburne's character and many other characters that we have seen in the MCU that don't get glorified that much anyway. But for a very solid heist film, this is a pretty good solid heist film that just has a lot of action, a very likable two leads that are just have great chemistry together, and it was just an all-around a okay Marvel film. Not great like Avengers Infinity War, where it was just dazzling, where expectations and a lot of action was happening. This was an okay Marvel film that just balanced it out. And yeah, that's all I have to say about Man and The Wasp as well. And it was a very interesting movie, and I enjoyed it from beginning to end. I wasn't really hoping anything would happen, but it was an okay Marvel film that just, was okay, and that was good for its own merits, and I actually liked it. So it was a good film. Definitely go see it. It's worth your money. It's not worth your money like Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom is, or Sicario 2 is, but it's worth your money and time to see this movie, because it's a break from the usual superhero films that we have to offer with a villain that's not really very complex villain, but you get a backstory from her and all the other stuff that Ghost is going through when she got completely derailed from the quantum theory. It's a great story, very lighthearted, very easy to follow, and the characters are very likable to this movie, and I enjoyed every second of this film. It's not my favorite MCU film like Avengers Infinity War is, but it is a good one. I think you can probably enjoy. It's similar to Spider-Man Homecoming, where it's very lighthearted. It doesn't really have that much action going for it, because they develop characters that are very likable, and these characters are likable. The two leads, Evangelist Lilly and Paul Rudd, did a fantastic job of having good chemistry together. Michael Pena is always funny. Michael Douglas is always the authority figure, and Michelle Pfeiffer was really good as the mom that got lost in the film. And this is spoiler alert for anybody who hasn't seen the film, but I just pinpointed what I had about this film, and this is an okay film, and that's a good thing. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. So yeah, you guys, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Take care, everybody.